Hello, I'm Joanna Sheen, and this card uses the artwork from a Russian artist that I've just discovered, and I think he's so talented. His name is Evgeny Lushpin, and he does things like nighttime scenes, European cities, some really romantic and lovely things. And if you've ever been to Venice, I think you'll agree with me, Venice is a very romantic place. I absolutely love it. And this card uses the bit from that pad, and then also this die, which comes from our Country Garden die set, which is just recently released. So, here's the sheet that comes out of the pad, and you get this fabulous, I love this, it's very Venice, isn't it, this border, and the main image. Then you get the sentiment, and then to use either on the same card or to keep for another time, you've got a little gift tag and a label there. And some people choose to incorporate that on the back of the card or inside the card. I just have a little box and I keep extras, and I'm never short of a gift tag, that's for sure. Now then, again, pick your card colours. This time I thought white would make a nice contrast, so I've got a white blank card which is 8 inches by 8 inches, and then I've used a couple of, trying to keep on the old Venetian antique look, I've picked a couple of darkish golden brown cards and have matted and layered them. I'm going to stick them on with foam tape because it'll just lift it up a little bit. So we'll start by doing that and get that out of the way. There we go. Now, Joanna, note to self, check the card isn't upside down. And then let's make this nice and central. There we go. Now next I'm going to put on the border, and this one I'm going to put on, you could use foam tape, you could use pin flare. I'm going to use some double-sided. And I'm going to put that, just turn it a bit so I can get it absolutely straight, and I'm going to put that about, I think, about there. Now we're going to put on the main image, and as you can see I've matted and layered in exactly the same sort of goldy dark brown look, and I'm going to use the raised foam tape again. There we go. If you'd wanted to use pin flare, that's okay too. It's just whatever you've got in your craft box. Now I'm going to put this roughly central-ish. There we go. And then we're going to stick on the sentiment, just to remind you, this is what we got on the main sheet, that lovely border, the main image, and the sentiment that we're going to use. So, the sentiment, I've snipped it out, but I've just put it on a little bit of the dark brown paper. It makes it really firm and thick, so it's dead easy to use, but also it just, gives that little edge to it. This one I'm going to stick on not with foam tape, I'm going to stick it on with pin flare, because I'm going to put it at a slight angle. Why? Because I can, not for any, serious or sensible reason. I just thought it looked rather nice, stuck at a little angle. So I'm going to put it at the bottom here, just overlapping the picture, and I'm just going to press the bottom down but leave the top sticking up. Now then, leave the top off that. Do remember, if you use pin flare glue gel, always put the top on as often as you possibly can. I know it's annoying, but it will save your glue gel from drying up. But I'm going to use so much in a minute that I'm not going to bother. Right, this is the vine die from our Country Garden die set. And again, as I so often do, I've just churned out a whole load in white. It's cheap, it's easy, and I enjoy the colouring in. If you're thinking, oh, I don't, well, that's great. Just die cut them in the colour that you want them, and you can do lovely paper piecing, and sometimes it actually looks better than colouring in. But here you can see I have coloured them in, and the way I get this variegated look is that I get the green pen and I do all the stem round there, and then I just splodge it, just roughly, not any careful measuring, splodge, 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 and then I go over the whole lot with yellow. So that blends the green in and you end up with this lovely variegation. And we're going to have these up the sides of the card. So again, a little bit of green flair. I'm probably just going to put it on the 2 big leaves because then you know it won't splodge out, and that's all really that needs sticking down. If you notice there's a loose bit and you're thinking, wouldn't mind a bit more glue, then dead easy to put something on afterwards, isn't it? Right, I'm going to have that down at the bottom there. And every card that you make will come out differently. You know, much as I would love to copy that sample I made earlier, the chances of the vine looking the same are zippo, because you know, you can't, unless you're doing something like wedding invitations where you've planned it really carefully, every card is unique. And that should be the joy of it, really. So I'm just winding that little vine up the side there. And in a minute I'm going to snip a piece in half, as I was saying about cutting up the dies. Don't respect them so much that you think you have to use whole dies. You don't have to. Bits of dies are great. And we'll tuck you under there, like that. And now I'm going to snip this. Just going to go to the end of this leaf, so you end up with 2 little bits. Just make sure that you snip it in a way that makes it look okay. So having snipped that in half, we've got a little bit here that we can just tuck onto the top, which just makes it go around the corner. And there's another little bit. I fancied having a bit that overlapped onto the sentiment, so that little bit can go there. That's an easy one. And just take the end of the stem there, tuck it under, just tidies it up so that it just sits nicely. And then I'm going to snip another one. I get quite carried away with snipping sometimes. You sort of think, oh, I like doing this, and I'm snipping flowers off, and I'm snipping this and that off. I really do get a lot of pleasure out of my die cuts, and I think they shouldn't be. Some people go, oh, they're only die cuts. Well, they're probably the same people that went, oh, they're only CDs when they were in. Basically, it's you, the crafter, that makes something out of an ingredient, not the ingredient. You know, you can do the most amazing things with any craft idea. Let's have one going there. And then last few bits. The other good thing about making the bits a little bit smaller is that you can make things fit a little bit better, and that's always a good thing too. But I think just these last 2 should do it. Let's have you climbing over there, and then you climb there. So there you go, a trip to Venice. If you haven't been, then start a piggy bank and save up to go, because it really is the most amazing place.